Hello everyone and welcome back to Trapline Trails with Lauren. Today I'm just going to be working on tanning one of my coyote hides that I trapped last year. I ended up not selling him just because he had a really bad rub and stuff on the back, so I thought, well, I'm just going to keep him for myself. So right now, as you can see, I've already got the salt on him, and he's been sitting for probably about a week, just until he's really dry. I've actually had him sitting in the basement with a dehumidifier, and plus the salt, it just helps draw all that moisture out. As you can see, I mean, it's really dry. So that's what you want. You don't want no moisture left in it. You want, because he had been sitting about maybe 3 or 4 days, and I come back and still back here on the back legs, there's still a lot of moisture, so I let it sit for a couple more days, and now it's like fully dry. So yeah, that right there is what you want. So now I'm going to get all the salt off of him, rinse him off real good, then I'm going to wash him in Dawn dish soap. That is like a degreaser. It gets all any remaining grease out of the hide, and then I'm going to proceed to the next step. Alright you guys, so I just finished washing it in the Dawn dish soap. I just knocked all that salt off, rinsed the salt off first, and then put just the regular Dawn dish soap right here is what I use. Just to get all that grease out, and it just makes your, I mean, you can tell the difference after you wash in that. It's a lot softer. Just get any extra grease that you didn't get out. But so now I'm going to take this down and put this in another solution and let it soak for 3 days. Alright guys, so as you can see, I've got a 5-gallon bucket right here. You know, it just depends on what you're tanning, the size of bucket or amount of water you need. So for this, what I do, I got a 5-gallon bucket, and I've got maybe about 4.5 gallons, 4.5 gallons in there. And so I put a pound of salt per gallon of water in there, and then after the salt, I put a ½ ounce of Liquid-Safe acid per gallon of water. So it doesn't take much. So I'll put maybe about, I mean, I probably would go ahead and put about maybe like 5 gallons worth in there, because I mean, you know, it's not far from it. And then mix that up real well. And what I like to do, I went ahead and put the water in, and I like to do lukewarm water, so when I put my salt in, it helps dissolve it a lot better. If you do cold water, it's not going to dissolve. So I did the water, I did my salt, and honestly, I just stuck my arm in there and just swirled it around until the salt was completely gone. As you can see, it is completely dissolved. Like, you wouldn't even know salt's in there. But it's completely dissolved, and then I put the Liquid-Safe acid in there, mixed it up real well, and with that I use a stick or something, mix it up real well, and then I put my hide in. So we're gonna go ahead and put this in. And I'll still just take my hand and just mix it around. But like I said, if you don't use that lukewarm water, your salt's not gonna dissolve. But I just push it down in there, get all them air bubbles out, and just get it stirred around real good. And I will leave it soaking for 3 days, and then I will pull it out and continue to the next step. Alright you all, so it's been 3 days now that this coyote hide has been soaking in our salt and acid mixture. So I'm going to take it out of this bucket and wash it off real good and proceed to the next step. Alright guys, so now the next step is I refilled the bucket up, and then now this time I'm not going to put as much in there, so I've got about 4 gallons of water in here. So now I am going to take it to the next step, and what I do next is you take baking soda. They're small boxes. I get them at the dollar store, and it's a half a box per gallon of water. So there's 4 gallons of water, so half a box per gallon is going to take 4 boxes of water. You put your hide in here, you put your baking soda, and you stir it around real good and let it soak for 30 minutes. Alright, so I got my baking soda mixed in, and I do forget it's a half a box of baking soda and a cup of salt per gallon of water. So you put that in, mix that up really well, and then you stick your hide in. I'm just pressing it down, getting all those air bubbles out. Alright, now I'm going to let that sit for about 30 minutes and stir it every 10. Alright, it's been 30 minutes now, so I'm going to go take it back up there and rinse it off. You want to take your hide and you want to flip it first side out, because what you want to do is let that fur get almost completely dry. You want that fur to be dry. So I'm gonna flip it first side out. And then I'm going to hang it up and let this fur dry really, really good. So check on it tomorrow. Like the belly part is already, it's already halfway dry. So I'm gonna hang this back up. Alright, so I'm gonna let that hang there and air dry. Let that fur get almost completely dry. And then once it's almost completely dry, I will flip it first side in again, and we'll put the tanning oil on it. Hey guys, so sorry that it's dark. It got dark on me today before I could get to this thing, but as you can see, the fur is nice and dry. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip the hide inside out again. I want the fur to be almost completely dry. So I'm just going to take this and flip it. And then I'm going to get my tanning oil and put it all over this hide. So when it comes to the tanning oil, you want it to be lukewarm. So what I do, I literally, I just put it in a measuring cup and I put it in the microwave for literally like just 10 seconds. You just want it lukewarm, so it'll absorb into that hide real well. So I'm just gonna stab my fingers in it. Again, I apologize for it being dark, guys. And just rub it in. And I'm going to do this to the whole entire hide. I do have lights out here that are supposed to come on when it gets dark, and they usually do, which is why I was doing it right here, but for some reason they're not coming on, so this part's gonna be in the dark, but I do apologize for that. But this part, you don't really necessarily have to see. Like I said, you just get that tanning oil lukewarm and I just put a glove on, dab my fingers in it, and just work it in the hide. That's all you're doing. Just making sure every part is covered. This last step is the most important part. And it's all important, but this is the most crucial part of the whole process. It's this last step. Get all the way in that tail. If it gets in the fur, no big deal. Once the hide's fully tanned, you can brush it out real good. Make it nice and fluffy. I'm just gonna kind of massage it. Go over it again with both hands. Just make sure it's all worked into every single part of this hide.
That's wow.
And you really want to get the face really good, because it's the face, especially the nose, is the part that starts to dry first and the quickest. So you always want to make sure you get that really well. But yep. So I've got the whole thing in that tanning oil. Got it all covered. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang it up in my garage. You want it to hang in a warm area, and so that way that tanning oil will start soaking in and drying a little bit faster. So leave it hanging outside, maybe not direct sun, but at least just a place where it's fairly warm. It'll help it dry quicker. And then as it's drying, this is the most important part. As it's drying, you've got to stretch it, and I'll show that on video. But I'm gonna hang this up in my garage, and I'm gonna check on it every few hours. And as it dries, you have to stretch and pull on it, because if you don't, and if it gets too hard, if it dries too much, you're not going to be able to stretch it and pull it, and then you're going to have to put more tanning oil on it, start that all over again. You have to stretch it as it dries, and how you will know it's dry is when you pull on it and it starts turning white. That is when it's starting to dry and you really need to work it. But I will show that all in video. So I'm going to take this and go put it in, or go hang it up here on a hook I've got, and let it start drying. Okay, so due to work starting back and everything for me, I wasn't able to start videoing like when I first started to stretch and pull the hide, but it's pretty much done. I'm still going to work on it and stuff, but as I said, like when you hang it up to dry, like in, you know, it could be outside or just in a place, like for me it was my garage. It was really warm, and I was able to hang it up in there and let it start drying out. But if it is in a really warm spot like my garage, you have to constantly be checking on it, whether it's every 30 minutes or at least every hour or two, because that face is the part that starts to dry the quickest. So, yeah, definitely start, just make sure you check on it. As it dries, you pull it, and when you pull on it and it starts turning white, that's how you know. If you feel of the hide and it's still kind of like a wet feeling, like a oily feeling, it's not ready. It still needs to dry more. But usually it's the head and the nose area and around the ears and neck. That part is what you will start pulling and stretching out first, because that's the part that dries the quickest. But I will show you. This is what I've gotten done so far. And also, there are some places like around the head and neck that are really hard to get. So all I use is a piece of wood like this. I probably could, it would actually help out a lot, sharpen the edge of that. You can see it was a lot sharper, but it's really dull where I've used it a lot. But I just take this and, if you got to step on it, whatever. It doesn't matter. But as you can see, I've been working and pulling it. Those are the holes from where I was flushing. Didn't do the greatest job, but in some of that, is just where I didn't get all a bit of that skin off. But yeah, this is what it should look like when it is tan. It'll be really smooth. It'll look like that. Be really smooth, and you want it to be real flexible. But what I do, I just take the edge of this and I work it. I just work that hide consistently. And as you do that, it will stretch out those fibers. When you stretch the hide, those fibers in that hide is what turn white. You're breaking them apart. And once they're broken apart like that, that's how you know it's fully tanned. And those broken fibers are what make it turn white. So this is breaking those fibers apart. So if you find it hard to use your hands, like this area is really easy to stretch with your hands. This right here is really easy to stretch. This upper part is what's harder. As you can see, I'm still working on the face. I've mainly gotten it there, but there's still some places that I need to continue working on. But this right here is what you want. This looks really good. But yeah, you just, like I said, you got to step on it. It does not matter. It's not going to hurt it. You just work it. That's all you're doing. You're just working it, stretching those fibers out. So that's all I did, and that's that side. And this is the other side of it. So, like I said, this area down here is going to be really easy to stretch with your hands. A whole lot easier than when you get up in the neck and the face. Sometimes those are tougher. And if that's the case, I just use that piece of wood. And it stretches it for me, does all the hard work for me. But yeah, this is, like I said, it'll be nice, really nice and soft. And you just want to continuously, for several days, you want it to be very flexible. As you can see, I have worked this hide. But yeah, like this spot, and the reason there's so many holes in it is because I had made the mistake of, once I got done skinning it out, I had stretched the hide out over the board, and I hadn't had a chance to flush it yet. So it was outside of my little building, and no insulation or anything. And I left it out there, and when I went to flush it the night before, it had froze, and I thought, well, it'll be all right. No, it was not okay. I knew that I needed to re-soak it in a bucket of water because it was completely froze. And I thought, it'll be all right. I won't have to do that. I knew that's what I needed to do, but I didn't want to, I was being lazy. I didn't want to take that extra step and just re-soaking it, re-softening it in a bucket of water. So instead, I just decided to try and flush it that way while it's frozen. And of course, as you can see, I knocked so many holes in it while flushing, and I still ended up having to re-soak it so I could fully flush it. So yeah, that was my bad. I shouldn't have left it out in the cold like that, and I shouldn't have tried to flush it while frozen. So that's what that is. It's got spots on it from where it got pretty much kind of like a freezer burnt, kind of. But yeah, so, but you know, like I said, this is going to be mine, and this is just extra practice for me on tanning. It'll still look real pretty. So I'm basically done with it for the most part. You know, I'm still going to work it with that piece of wood that I've got. But yeah, so, but I'm still going to work it. But yeah, so that's what that's from. And you know, around the head, here's Miko. You say hi? Yeah. You like the camera, don't ya? I don't think I've shown him much, but this is my doggy. You see my doggy. But yeah, this is the head. Still working on that, but like this part, all that's done, it's dried. And then the finishing thing, what I'll do once I'm completely done with it, I will throw it in a tumbler. I don't have one, a friend of mine has one. He said I can use it anytime, so I'm going to take full advantage of that and throw it in a tumbler. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and flip this guy back in and see what he looks like. Okay, you guys. Yeah, once these things are really fully tanned and you've worked with them, they're flexible. You're able to stick your hand through, grab that nose, and pull it all the way through like so. Yep. Get those ears out. All the way out. And the ears, your personal preference. If you have a bunch of them, like if you're going to have them stacked or whatever, you know, you want the ears pinned down, or some people cut them off, you know, if you're going to sell them or whatever. If you're just going to hang them on the wall, you could still pin them down like that, or just leave them sticking up to dry. But there he is. I mean, looking at him now, you wouldn't even be able to tell all those holes are in him. I have thought about going back and sewing them up, which I could, you know, just make it look prettier. But he's just going to be a wall hanger, so I'm not too worried about it. I plan on trapping a bunch more this coming season, which I'm super excited about. So, but yeah, there's our coyote hide. Yep, it was a beautiful male I was able to harvest, so very happy about him. Yep, there's the, like I said, you know, you want them to be fully, when they're fully tanned, you want them to be real flexible, just like this, to where they're able to, you know, they're as flexible as if you just skinned them. That's what you want. Yeah, gorgeous male coyote, and that's also another reason I didn't attempt to sell him. You know, he had a pretty bad rub right there, so I thought, well, I'll just keep him for myself. I don't have one on the wall yet, one of mine that I've trapped, so just keep him for myself. But yep, there he is. Beautiful male coyote hide. You just hang them up on the wall and keep those ears, you know, just keep forming them, watching them as they dry, and they'll form however you want them to. Just like that. Since he's going on the wall, I'm just gonna keep his ears up. But yep, but like I said, guys, this face, and especially, I'm telling you, especially this nose, you want to consistently work. And even if there's parts that have gotten stiff, all you have to do is just take your hand just work it. This is all you do. Just work it back and forth like that. And that can also help stretch your fibers and make it really flexible. And that nose, you just keep working. You just work that nose back and forth. And once it gets like that, once you've broken those fibers apart and they turn white, it's not going to harden back, and it's going to stay nice and flexible. Yep. That's my coyote hide and how you tan a coyote. So for everyone that is subscribed to my channel, I truly appreciate it. You have no idea how much it means to me. And I hope this channel continues to grow, and I hope you share this with your friends. Would really like to reach 100 subscribers. That is my goal. I'm at 93 right now, so if I could get 100, that would be truly amazing. But my goal here is just to share what I love to do and hopefully help others that are wanting to learn how to do it. So yeah, I hope those of you that are out there trying to learn how to tan, that you find this video useful, and I appreciate everyone watching, and I'll see everyone back again on the next video with Trapline Trails with Lauren.